Right, sad news, I think, personally. Dungeons and Dragons. Looks like Hasbro wants to sell it. And it looks like a Chinese company, Tencent, is very interested. Very interested. One of the primary interested buyers. And that's disappointing. Like, I like Dungeons and Dragons as an IP. I think it should stay in Western hands. Maybe it's controversial. I think, the least stuff going over to China, the better, quite frankly. And I think, Tencent, as well as a company, they have a habit of not producing the best stuff when it comes to film and things like that. So it's a disappointing. It's disappointing news. So we'll dive into this today. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Turn the bell notifications on. Hasbro has a lot of financial woes at the moment. That's not new. Shouldn't be new to anyone. And, they're looking to sell stuff. They recently sold E1 to Lionsgate, if I remember rightly. Pretty certain. They're selling a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. So, according to a new report, Hasbro's ongoing financial woes have gotten so bad that in a desperate attempt to create some kind of money, the toy manufacturer has decided to shop around IPs. Now, I highly doubt Dungeons and Dragons will be the first one. Well, the only one, should I say. It might be the first one, but the only one, probably not. And they're shopping around to potential buyers. A leading candidate for that is Chinese-owned Tencent. I don't like Tencent. I don't think these properties should be owned by Chinese companies. Call me controversial. I just don't think that they should. So news of both Hasbro's intent to sell the grandfather of all tabletop gaming and Tencent's interest in taking it off their hands was first brought to light in January 29th by the China-based financial news outlet Speed Daily. And it says, people familiar with the matter, who allegedly spoke to the outlet, negotiations between the two entities over the rights to D&D are currently still in the early stages, with both sides having yet to agree on the details of the deal. It kind of sounds like it sounds like it's pretty far along, actually. One, if it's getting leaked, that's pretty far along. Two, they're in solid discussions to figure out what the nature of the deal would entail. So it's being considered seriously. And look, I know Dungeons & Dragons has a bad rap at the moment. Wizards of the Coast and stuff like that. I get it. But it should stay in Western hands. So as to the history behind these negotiations, sources recalled that Tencent was brought to the table by the way of Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian Studios, in which the Chinese conglomerate owns a minority stake. So one of the first entities approached by Hasbro to take D&D off their hands, Larian Studios ultimately had to bow out of the running for its purchase due to insufficient funds. I'd imagine this would go for quite a massive amount of money. So, essentially, Larian Studios decided to contact Tencent because they're aware of how big this would be. And they don't want to walk away from the deal. Obviously, they can't buy it, but a company that they're associated with and, connected with financially, they could buy it. And Tencent then decided to agree with the developers, read of the deal's potential, and moved to make it happen. So to this end, a source within Tencent Interactive Entertainment Group, the company's arm responsible for managing their video game, esports, and overseas operations, told Speed Daily that the company has already come forward to conduct consultations with the intention of taking a series of rights, including the rights to adapt D&D video games. Again, they just shouldn't have it. Tencent currently holds a lot of top IP game adaptation rights. They elaborated as recapped by Speed Daily, but because most of the authorization model is not a one-time buyout, resulting in Tencent not only needing to bear the high copyright fees and long-term revenue sharing, but also often in the research and development and operation of the partners' constraints. So as noted above, Hasbro's supposed decision to sell the most iconic tabletop gaming property of all time, comes amidst an ongoing collapse of the company's finances. In 2019, the toy manufacturer's stock price hit a record high of $123.67 and remained firmly above $90 throughout most of the year. And though the company's value suffered an unsurprising drop in 2020 with the onset of COVID and all those kind of things, has climbed back up. But I don't know what they've done. Basically, they tried to appeal to wider audiences. They've made D&D stuff, tried to make it politically correct. Very, very strange. They actively rejected Power Rangers Super Sentai roots and allowed identity politics to run across Magic the Gathering as well. I mean, it's just everywhere. And now their stock is $48.95. I mean, that's fucking terrible. So offering recognition to these financial struggles during company's Q3 earnings call, Hasbro CEO said, "We're continuing to see the Wizards of the Coast business performing well, particularly the Magic the Gathering business, which year to date is up 5%, whereas the general games category are down as low as much as negative 8%, depending on which source you look at." And they said total business revenue for Hasbro is $1.5 billion, and that's down 10% versus last year. The impact of the broader toy category declines has had a change in our consumer products and total Hasbro outlook. Based on this, we now expect total Hasbro Inc. revenue to be down 13 to 15%. I mean, that's insane. Again, the most iconic tabletop game of all time in the hands of Chinese people, Chinese company. Every Chinese company has ties to the CCP. No, this shouldn't happen. That's not a stretch. I don't think that should happen at all. Just from that perspective alone, that shouldn't happen. From also the perspective of the products that they put out, they're not good products, generally speaking. You tell me a really good Tencent product, and I'll be surprised. So there you go. Bad times for classic Dungeons and Dragons. Sell it to someone that would get it back on track and take out all the nonsense in it. That's what I want. So hit subscribe if you're new here. Leave your thoughts down below. Turn the bell notifications on. Cheers, guys. Take care. Oh, God, I hate this news. Take care. Bye-bye now.